I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is Volcano Block. Now, I have a little bit of an idea that's been sparking in my head, coming up with an idea for the build that I want to do. Something that I want to set up that is going to help further our progression and get us off of this, tiny little boat. We're sort of colonizing. We're spreading out. It is just me, but we are spreading out. Eventually, we'll have some friendly faces, such as like villagers and things like that. But we need space for those things, and we also need to leave the danger that is this lava that is just looming right here beneath us. So how do I go about doing that? Well, I was thinking, how about a lava drill? Like, not exactly a drill. It's going to look like an oil rig or something you would see out on the ocean, but instead it is going to have the main focal point being the hose pulley that collects the lava. And we can have pipes from Create and everything like that hanging down from it. It's going to have a lot of vibes similar to this crane that's over here. And I think that would look really, really cool. And I love the idea that's already going along this. Of course, it'll be a lot harder to build this without any sort of flight right off the bat, but I think we can get some basic foundations built. And that's going to require us to get into a little bit more Create, because a lot of these building materials that I want to use is probably going to be concrete. Now, the hardest part about concrete is simply converting it from the powdered form over to the normal form. So to do this, I want to use an encased fan with some water in front of it. So right here, I'm actually going to set up a lava line, and we need to get power that is going to feed to this encased fan that is going to have some water in front of it that can actually convert the concrete over quite effectively. So if we just take some water here and we place that in front of this fan, and it blows in the appropriate direction, then we can generate or convert the powdered into its hardened version. Now, we are going to need a little bit of power, and so this is where a water wheel is going to come into play, but we're not going to use water on it. No. This can go in any direction. As you can see, the fins no longer matter in the new Create versions, and we can actually power this with lava. And it doesn't need to be anything crazy or anything like that. We should be able to simply grab a bucket of lava and place it on whatever side, as you can see, corresponds to the actual blowing action. Now, this right here looks like it is pulling. You can see they're going in that direction, which means that we probably need to change its direction. So I'll end up putting it on this side, and that will simply change its direction. Look how simple this contraption is. And this thing right here will convert concrete powder into its normal concrete form. Let's see, there might be a way that we could just drop all these items in and they just get collected for us when they're done. Now, this build is going to require a lot of this concrete, so let's go ahead and toss it in. And as you can see, it is going to start processing, and when it's done, it's going to basically pop to the top. And we'll be able to see once it's done processing. I don't think it does all of them at once. It might. It's been a while, and I don't know the exact changes that has happened. We'll be able to tell here momentarily. But the speed of the water wheel doesn't actually increase the speed at which this works. The only way to make this faster would be to have more encased fans per side on this middle section. As you can tell just by that was incredibly fast. And yes, it did process all of them at once. And so, yeah, I do want to use the mixture of like gray concrete here. And I kind of have some structures. I'm taking inspiration from some AI images that I generated. And these are the images. They look kind of neat. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I also posted them on the YouTube community page. If you haven't checked that out, it is next to the playlist whenever you're on my main part of the channel. Now, hitting F3G, I am sort of using this as a guide. I know that this is 16 blocks that are contained within these chunk bounds. And so that means going one more makes this an odd number, meaning that we now have a setup that is 17 blocks long. That's a pretty straightforward way of doing this. And I like to keep things inside of chunks. So building this, I think the base frame is going to be a little over a single chunk in size. I might take it a little bit further out, but this is going to be the basic size of the frame. And then we're also going to make this a little bit shorter on this side. So if I know that that is 16, we can actually just go one less than 16, and that'll also make it odd, meaning we won't have we'll always have like these nice divided sections. Now, unfortunately, I can't make the exchanging gadget. So yes, I am going to be replacing most of this by hand. Because the exchanging gadget, for some reason, unlike the builder's gadget, which is a really useful tool, this does not require anything special. However, the exchanging gadget does. So this requires all the modium and a nugget of it, and I don't quite know where we obtain all the modium just yet. But I'm sure we're going to get there eventually. Is this something that's sieved? I doubt it's something that's sieved. It looks like something that comes from the dimensional mine shaft. That is from occultism. But outside of that, I don't really see a good place. Well, apparently it says right here, can be made using UU matter. Oh no, face palm here. Well, it can be made with UU matter, but it also apparently can be made via other things. But okay, so late game IC2 is what it's bound by. RIP the exchanging gadget. Now we do have access to the building gadget, and as you can see here, I'm using a Tinker's Workbench. This is from Thermal series, and it does allow me to just charge it. It's probably one of the cheapest blocks in Thermal. Now with the building gadget tool, it's at least going to make this a little bit easier to build, as we can simply just set this to like build to me, and then I can just get all of this lined out quickly. Even though we don't have cork for easy building in Skyblocks and stuff like that, this actually does a pretty good job of it. So here we go with the basic outline of the foundation ready to go. So let's use our Elytra book to land safely back down. Oh boy. And well, we're gonna have to go from here. This is looking very modern, but I believe me, this is not going to inevitably look like this. There's going to be a little bit more added to the side to get some thickness, but this is ultimately going to be like the frame that's supporting the oil rig that I plan on building. So far, so good. Of course, a lot of the details I can't put in just yet, because honestly, over this lava, it is incredibly dangerous to try and put some of the details in. But once we dive a little bit further into Ars Nouveau, we won't have a problem with that, because that mod should supply us with a localized create a flight once we get around to that point. And it's actually fairly cheap to set up. But this area up top is definitely going to have overhangs. This is going to be quite a large platform, and it's going to extend actually further in one direction than the other to give it this sort of overhang sort of feeling. But the idea is that this frame extends further and further under the lava. That's, of course, my idea I'm going with. I didn't want it too high to outscale things like this. For example, right? This is a crane. This should be incredibly high up. So I want this to sort of fill about the same height as this crane ultimately, with this going a little taller. Now, thankfully, these elevators that we found on one of the like floating little ship things, we can actually use in this. So let's see. Can I get up here? I can. Okay. And I want to place an elevator right here. This is going to make getting back and forth so much easier up there, because this is where ultimately all of this stuff is going to eventually be moved. Now that I have the basis of this platform done, and I'm still not quite sure what I'm doing with this area right yet, but this is sort of laid out, and it's of course got the area that extends. However, I would like to have like an arm that looks like it's extending out in support, or maybe some sort of slow arch that builds up that way. But that'll have to happen once we have some sort of flight. So I'm trying to get this built up as fast as I can, so that way I can get back to work on progressing through more of these mods. Now, there is some pretty cool building mods in here. There's this Architects mod that has this this cutter here, and it has tons of different patterns and designs of things that it can do, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it works. I still like the base kind of vanilla style, so that's typically what I go with. However, I think I will be using some macaw bridges over here to give this some more industrial vibe, and that's going to give us like ramps to get up to buildings and things like that eventually. Now, I want to use this right here. This is probably the most common resource we have. However, it's a little bright. This might end up getting changed later on, but for right now, this should do the trick. And what I want to do is chisel all of this, and then I am going to use my building gadget to place all of these in. So this actually has a connected texture, which is pretty darn cool, which makes it super easy for me to cast in here. And you can see this is giving us a ton of space. Huge platform here, tons and tons of space, and that's exactly what I want. However, I think this is going to actually be the bottom floor, because I need a floor so that way we don't drop things in. I'm still debating on if I'm going to just put slabs on the top side of this so that way we have a platform, or I just raise this up one more level. We have tons of cobblestone. What I'm worried about is I just don't have enough dye for all of the concrete. Now, if only I had enough resources to make these bridges. This will eventually be what I will hopefully use for the walkways, but for right now, these middle sections are going to just be filled with these archwood planks. And I think this is going to just separate the textures a little bit and give me a nice little path to walk on for right now. Of course, eventually, like I said, I want to use those all over the base, but we're going to need a lot more iron, potentially even an iron farm. So at the moment, I'm setting up all of my colossal chests, and we should have plenty here. So I'll just go ahead and get the interface set up and the actual chest itself, and that should complete it. Did I put it backwards? No, I did it just right. It's weird that it's not completing. Okay. I'm pretty sure I have everything. Oh, I was missing the middle piece. Okay, here we go. Perfect. There we go. Now it's complete. These should all work as well because I just messed up on that one. Perfect. So with this, I'm going to start moving my storage slowly but surely up here. And now we'll have 4 of these chests to work with. And yes, we can actually link all 4 of these to that same lectern, which I'm going to probably place right here for now. Now we are going to need our Dominion wand. So that's going to be one of the things we're going to need. And well, we also need this guy. And well, that's probably the easiest way to get it, or you can use a dispel charm on it, but we haven't gotten into the dispel stuff. So that is effectively unlinked. And all of the items are well in this chest. But first I want to get this linked back up and hooked together so that way I can just take the items out of that chest and put them in here. Of course, you could pipe if it was close enough, but I don't think I have enough stuff for like an ender chest just yet. So this will be a lot cooler looking. When this is placed on here now, all we have to do is shift right click on the block and then link the position. And there we go. And this guy should actually fly back and forth now, and we should be able to visually see it flying back and forth like that. And now for the hard part. That's right, I've got to move all of the items out of this chest, and there's a lot of them. So it actually didn't take as long as I thought. That was pretty nice, actually. It wasn't too bad. So now that I have all my items transferred, well, I need to start technically getting the majority of our other stuff transferred. However, things like our mob farm and stuff like that, well, that's going to take a different little setup and approach. Now, after getting just about everything moved over to this area, well, some things are going to need to be changed and, well, destroyed. I've got to clean this all up. I don't really want this down here, so I have this boat to try and, well, do that with. So let's pop onto the boat, hop down. Of course, you don't take fall damage inside of a boat. Probably one of the best hacks in the world. But I need to basically hop on a boat and clear out most of this. Now, I am going to lose out on my mob farm. Not a huge deal right now, because we can technically make more of this dreadful dirt. I now have all of the resources I think needed in order to do that. And same goes for the delightful dirt. I should also be able to get rid of all of that. By the way, the cactus chicken hurts things. That's interesting. Well, with this, the boat is about to be over. The boat is no more. I've got just about everything cleared up, and I'm excited. I'm excited because this means that we can start actually expanding, and I now have the majority of my base moved into something that I feel like contributing more to. And so that is where all of my effort is now going to go. This got us at least to this point, which was nice. But now that we had a bit more resources and we're gathering more resources, moving to this is way more practical. Now, to be able to get rid of the rest of this, well, this is where vein mining while in a boat is going to get the job done. Now, there's still a couple of spots, unfortunately, where we did pull our lava from that I'm going to always see and never be able to unsee, like these. And I don't know how that would ever get fixed. Because lava is so finicky in the way that it works, unless I was somehow able to place a block under here and then have a layer that's underneath it to fix it. But yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Now, I did go ahead and set this up. This actually might be a good solution early game for how to store all of these ingredients. from our auto sieving process. So I have the hammer here, of course, that's doing the same setup we set up last episode, and then the sieve, and that's sieving gravel, and that's all just going into this one chest here. And so that's great because this is our primary. I think the way this is routed is the first thing you select, the second, that is going to be your priority on when using the Dominion wand on this lectern. So this is actually one of the last priority ones, but it doesn't matter. I should be able to actually use these for maybe each of the sieving processes, so long as we have enough power. And that's where things are kind of becoming a problem, is power. Now, I think I have a good solution to that. However, it's going to require getting into a little bit of mechanism with the wind turbines. Now, for right now, I want to go ahead and make and automate some obsidian. So we should be able to get quite a bit of obsidian fairly quickly since we have infinite lava. What I want to do with obsidian, well, it's just using a lot of crafting recipes, and I kind of want to see what's in the nether. So to do this, we just need some water, which this is where my water's at. I really don't need this because we do have a sink, which is infinite, but I just need to place the water right here on the barrel, and that it will start producing infinite amounts of obsidian. Yes, it's gonna go incredibly fast. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am insanely curious to see what is inside the nether. That is something that I'm interested in. Let's see, that's 3 tall, 3, and then 4. And then we'll make a 3 tall version, just like that, while this is generating an awfully lot. And yeah, it doesn't mention anything about it in the quest, so I'm just kind of wondering, what's on the other side? Is it just void, or is it a normal nether? Because if it's a normal nether, that's going to be pretty cool. It is 100% a void nether. Oh boy. But we do have jetpacks in this, so that shouldn't make it too difficult to progress through. But yeah, so it's 100% void. What else would I expect in kind of a pseudo skyblock such as this? Now, right up here, I have my now setup going. We just need to get a better alternative to power because relying on the coal as of right now is not going to be a super good solution. I eventually want to get a tree farm up and running. Then we'll have an unlimited supply of charcoal no matter really what we do. But for right now, I'm thinking let's go renewable. Now, we can't make any lava generators. It may sound kind of crazy, considering power becomes kind of moot at some point. So I'm surprised that lava generators are just completely not in here, given the fact that it's an abundant power source. But we do have unlimited power via wind that's cheap, that we can make via mechanism. So all we need to do for this is to just make 2 metallurgic infusers. That's usually the best way to go about doing this. And then I'm actually going to route some power from our pipes over here to these 2 machines. So straightforward, just like this. And we'll take our pipes and we just need to connect to them. So just like this, and they're nice and filled up. So there's a couple of things we're going to need. We're going to need osmium, which I have produced, and we're going to need iron and redstone. And so I do have plenty of redstone. So let's go ahead and take all the redstone we need here. Now, one of these recipes with osmium, if I grab a stack, osmium requires 2 redstone per. So we're going to go ahead and send the redstone in, and this will end up, like I said, taking 2, whereas for the iron, it's 1 to 1. So the redstone goes in. Be careful not to put the redstone in the power slot because it can go into the power slot, but make sure to put it here. These 2 resources are going to be basic control circuits, and then we're going to be making the alloy, all of which is required for making wind generators. And these things produce quite a bit of power. Now that we're also higher up off the ground, we're about at Y level 81, which is not amazing, but it is going to get the job done. And we should be able to just like directly attach windmills to this. And that should be more than enough power to keep these running. Now, just like that, we have ourselves our first windmill. And if we place this down, we can start to see that it is producing, I believe this right here on the power is going to be 52 RF per tick, with a max output here of 384. But I do believe it is only producing that 50 per tick. So not bad. Not bad if I'm reading that correctly. Yeah, producing 52 RF per tick at this particular height. I think if we bring it up higher, let's say up here, if I jump up here, I think it'll go even faster, right? So this is now producing 55. So the higher you take it up, the more power it's going to generate overall. But really, we don't need a whole lot to be able to get these and keep these running. All we're going to need to do is just simply have a couple of these per setup here. And look at that. It's already going to fire this up and get these running. And I think these can go side by side. They can connect right up next to each other. Now, this storage lectern's kind of interesting. I'm thinking about doing this little setup here. So a little part about the storage lectern is a barrel, for example, that is next to the storage lectern. If I can go ahead, let's see, let's just craft up some more of these planks, right? So if a inventory is next to it, you can actually insert items into the barrel, and as you can see, it gets picked up and put back into our storage. But we can also pull out of this storage. So I'm thinking, instead of using a compactor, why don't I just simply take all of these pieces and send them through a crafter from RF Tools? And then we can power that really easy by just simply placing the generator on top, right? And as you can see, there's also an output on the bottom, and it will send that power into this. So we don't even need to set up a filter or anything, because all we have to do is go, how many pieces, hopefully there's a craft for each of them, but how many pieces of these different materials do we have? And we can actually set it up so that way the machine can only store all of these individual pieces. Now, as of right now, there are 12 individual pieces that are in here. And what I typically like to do is take some other material that we probably don't have an abundance of inside of this. That's not going to just go ahead and start placing itself inside this machine. I don't even know what that would be, because if it's in here, we've probably gathered it at some point. Maybe like deep slate. No, deep slate is going to build up in here. Diorite. There we go. I'm probably never going to use polished diorite. So I can make a little bit of polished diorite, and we can go ahead and expand this out through here. And that's going to lock these items in when we hit this R, which is, remember, the current items that are in here. So now that should mean that our, well, outside of clicking that, you don't want to do what I just did and hit shift, because that'll pull all the items out. You want to pull them out. If you hit shift, it'll actually take the filter out. But the filter, I kind of want in. We're going to kind of leave these items in here. And then all I have to do is hook the pipe up and set that to extract. And it's always going to put those items in here that it can, because this pipe has no inventory or anything like that. So it'll only pull out what it actually has available. Now, setting up the output should be pretty easy. Whenever these are done crafting, like for example, if we set up our first craft, all we have to do is say this, hit apply, and now this will do the craft once it realizes the items are there, and it should craft this up and put the items into the exit slot here, right over here. At least it's supposed to. For some reason, it doesn't seem to be crafting anything. There we go. It did craft. I just had to pull the items out and get them going. I don't know if I'm going to have enough crafts to be able to get all of these individual ones done, but we'll see. As you can see, I'm getting them all placed in. We definitely want these first few, like iron and stuff like that. And once we get this done, this will go by pretty quick. There's not enough for 12, it looks like. So I need to prioritize some. And let's see. We can go ahead and do nickel. That's important. Hit apply. And let's see. Osmium for sure. Definitely want osmium being processed. And what one would be really nice to have processed? I mean, uranium would be really nice because that allows us to get into bigger reactors. And zinc would be nice. Tin. Actually, I think tin would be pretty good. So we'll go ahead and hit apply. Of course, this will only accept a stack worth of anything. But now we can go ahead and tell this, hey, start pulling those items out. And then over here, we can say, hey, start pulling those items out. And we can put a upgrade in here. And let's see. Let's also grab ourselves, from the pipes mod, another upgrade for the extract. And then we should be ready to go. And we've got the sorting and everything pretty much done. Of course, this can be expanded upon, and you can use even more crafters. We could add another crafter to the back that finishes up the rest of these things. But right now, you can see they're all in there. And this is just going to keep doing that sorting as these are now generating with renewable resources. So I feel like I've gotten a lot done. Now we need to wrap up all of these quests that I haven't done yet and see what kind of rewards I get. Now, of course, I can go ahead and just accept all. That's probably going to be the best thing to do. And oh boy, we got a lot of stuff here. So we definitely opened up mystical agriculture. Looks like we got an auxiliary process sieve, a reinforced alloy, some ender pearls. I'll take ender pearls. And pedestal, another wand, some experience. And yeah, it's kind of meh on the rewards here. Nothing super great, but all of this is just some nice things to have. These beehives, I guess are kind of, well, I would say they're nice, but it does seem like we could just simply craft the actual hive frames, which, yeah, okay, well, so I ended up getting a little bit of a reward, but all the quests are now complete as far as we are at. And without further ado, I now need to move all of my supporter signs over and also thank the supporter of today's video. But before I do that, of course, guys, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Now, this build is definitely in the works, so keep that in mind. It is only going to expand from here. You can see the expansions are already starting. And of course, these windmills are not always going to be there. Those are very temporary until I find a good place for them. But it is something that is actually moving in the base, which is kind of nice. This whole base is going to get much larger, so just bear with me. I can't build it all right now. I just don't have the resources. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you did enjoy and you enjoyed up to this point, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. Now, on to thanking the supporter of today's video. And that huge thanks is going to go to Imholon84. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. This program right here, by the way, you can find over on the Discord if that's something you're interested in. Discord.gg/ChosenArchitect if you're looking for this. And it is very configurable and can display really whatever you want on here. But yes, it is linked in the description to the Discord. Where you're on the Discord, it is pinned in the general chat. So be sure to check that out. It is really fun. It's a pretty fun program. And all you gotta do is just type in sup main, and there you go. We have the supporters now rolling through that we currently have. I love this display. Also, if your display looks really dark, it's probably because, well, they added the shaders mod Oculus, and if that mod is enabled, well, even if you're not using it, it makes these screens completely dark. So yeah, you probably have to disable the Oculus mod. But well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know it was quite a bit, a lot of random stuff going on, but I promise things are going to eventually start to kind of calm down, as now we have our resources sort of automated. We just need to get processing done, and then things are going to go smoothly. I can't wait to get into Ars Nouveau. There's been some new changes added to it, and there's all kinds of custom islands and stuff that you can generate, and I'm kind of excited to do that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. Of course, I will see you in the next episode, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye!